Life is so fragile, and we're constantly reminded just how fragile life can be, especially when we or a loved one is told we have cancer. Cancer survivor myself, I can tell you, we still feel very alone in this journey.
There's a study that's been showing that patients who are socially isolated have a worse prognosis, have a worse outcome than patients who are socially interconnected.
Buddies for Life is a non-profit cancer support group for those whose life has been impacted by cancer. We'll match you with the perfect buddy. Humor, hope, heart, and hugs.
Humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love.
We're offering you a free membership, so please sign up today. Share this with your friends and family, and support this community in every way you can. No one should face cancer alone.
I am a chemo buddy for life.
We are a buddies network.
No one does cancer alone.
Be a buddy.
And we are all here for you as a community of love.
We are chemo buddies for life.
And if you've heard 3 words, you have cancer, for yourself or someone else, you belong with us at Chemo Buddies for Life.
Healing through connections.
Good morning, everybody. I'm not on mute. I was about to say, every time that's like my thing is like, okay, am I on mute? I'm on mute. It's funny because the other day I was in a summit and the main speaker, I mean, this is like a huge speaker that speaks like all over. And they were on mute for 5 minutes before they realized they was on mute. And I was like, I don't feel so bad. See, even the big boys and the big ladies make those mistakes. And, and I say that because just keep it going. See, this is what I'm about to say. Just keep it going. Don't let that disturb what you're trying to move forward. Not saying not to check your mute. I'm not saying not to do that and just always do it. But don't let that stagnate you. Don't let the things, intimidate you to say, oh, well, I just blew it, so forget everything else. Even they were professional. They kept it going. Just like, if I see myself, I keep it moving. Take myself off mute, laugh a little bit, and then move forward. So with that, I'm going into that because a lot of times we let the little itty bitty, small little bitty things stop us from our goals and our dreams. And we don't have, there's no time for that. There's just no time to do that. I'm always talking about how your foundation is your PPD, your purpose, passion, drive. Well, you know what? You're going to get trialed. You're going to have the storms and the hurricanes. And then you're going to have the little itty bitty like paper cuts in life, which is going to maybe kind of stagnate you and say, maybe I shouldn't do that. Or I just messed up there. No. Don't do that gremlin talk behind your back, because those gremlins are going to be talking like, yeah, see, you just messed up. You didn't do that right. And then now you stop everything and you could have reached one person, because you took a step back. So this is the quote for today, going right into it. Don't ever underestimate the impact that you may have on somebody else's life. Each and every one of us has a huge, huge, huge impact, be it if it's negative or it's positive. I'm just going to put it out there. We really strive to do the positive. We really strive to do the positive. But I just want you to know that everything that you do, what your gifts are, what your genius is, creates an impact in somebody else's life. So don't let the little things stop you from moving forward, not just to not help yourself move in what you're doing, but others are waiting. Others are waiting for you because they need what you have. Believe me, there's 7 billion trillion whatever people in this world. Don't you think that we are touching lives? We are touching lives. So with that said, this is Wisdom Wednesday. They see Barry got me hooked on Wisdom Wednesday, so it looks like this is it. Wisdom Wednesday. So we have a wonderful, wonderful two experts today. We're going to have Mr. Barry Mixon that's going to bring it as he always does. And then we're going to have Miss Laura Armstrong come in right after, and she's going to be talking about understanding people's personalities. How do they work? Why do they act so silly sometimes? Oh, because they like to make people laugh. See, I used to, when I was younger, people used to call me class clown. Yeah, they did. Now I was a shy individual, but I felt like in order for people to like me, and see, this is a flaw. This is what happens when you're grown up. Sometimes things happen. That I had to be that, that funny girl that was always kidding and joking around and everything to get people to like me. And then it was from that point, I was like, I got the little title, the class clown. I was like, okay, I went from people to get to like me, so now I'm a clown. Now I entertain you. When I got older, I said, okay, you want me to entertain you now? I'm a clown. And then when I got older, people said, Barbara, that's just part of your personality. You made people laugh. You made people smile. So I took it from the negative side where I thought I was just like, this entertainer type of thing to now it's just part of me. That's who I am. And people said, I bring smiles, I bring laughter, I bring happiness to people. So you know what? I'll take being funny at times, but sometimes Barbara could be serious. If you know me, you know I can go there, but in a good way, So we are going to, let's see, we're going to, let's start the show. We're back. So none other, I'm just going to go right into it because I know Barry has some information for us. And I'm just going to say it like this, as I always do. Get this. It's a pen, right? Piece of paper. Start writing them notes. You're going to want to write these notes because he is going to bring it as he always do. Here he comes, Mr. Barry Mixon.
I always get caught up with listening to Barbara. Good morning, Barbara. Good morning to everyone. Bonjour, ni hao, hola, bienvenue, yang yin, bienvenidos, and welcome to another episode of the Gem Hunter Show. My name is Barry Mixon, and I am a gemological storyteller. And each and every week, what I like to do is take you on a journey, on an adventure into the art, science, history, and magic of gemstones, precious metals, and fine jewelry. I believe that gemstones can be a mental, a physical, and even a spiritual bridge, a template, a inception point to help people discover the value of their own stories. Those of you who have watched my shows for a while now, thank you so much. I appreciate your comments and appreciate that you get up early in the morning, especially depending on where you are in the world to watch this show. Good morning, Saul. Good evening, Saul in Bangladesh, Catherine in France. I mean, it's wonderful to be able to speak to the world. As Barbara said, we all get an opportunity to change the world. And for me, as a man, gemstones are an important way for me to change the dynamic in the way that women, more importantly, women are being treated in the world. Because there's so many analogies between gemstones and women. So the last few weeks, we have been talking about various aspects of gem identification. Gem identification in gemology is the way that myself as an appraiser and thousands of appraisers all over the world, the way we look at a gemstone. How do we define what a gemstone is? What is the classification of a gemstone? And once we understand what a gemstone is and where did it come from, how was it made, how was it processed, what things that had to happen in order to create the thing that we see as a gemstone, in order to create that, we have to understand all the steps that came in between. And then once we understand that story, we understand the value of that. So we've been talking about gem identification, and more importantly, we've been talking about the different attributes of a gemstone. We talked about beauty. In fact, before we talked about beauty, we talked about rarity. And I always put it in terms of relationships because I want you to start to see the analogy. So rarity in a gemstone means that gemstones are rare. Even though you may see them at Walmart or Sam's Club or Tiffany's or Zales, or every kiss may begin with K, gemstones are extremely rare. Millions, billions of dollars have to be spent and processed in order to create a gemstone, in order to find a gemstone. So how does that relate to you and I? The person that you want in your life, the love of your life, you have to begin to understand that, like a gemstone, that person is rare. That woman is rare. And as I've told you before, please fill in the blank. It's women for me. It's whoever you love for you, but it's the same process. That person, the fever from which you shall never recover, is rare. There are, as Barbara said, there's 7.8 billion people on the planet, not trillion, Barbara, billion people on the planet. Give people time, it'll get there, hopefully not. But 49% of them are women. But the woman for you is rare. So that's rarity, an aspect or attribute of a gemstone. Then we talked about beauty. And everyone likes to say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And that's a very, to me, simplistic way of looking at the things that make up beauty. Beauty is color. Beauty is symmetry. Beauty is being able to see how it all puts together. That is beauty. And beauty comes in, the advantage that I have of being a gemologist is the fact that I can't just look at beauty in one way. When I was growing up, my mother, who I look a lot like, my mother was maybe a shade lighter than me. But I grew up in the 60s when we were moving from being colored people to being black. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. And my mother used to always say, I'm not black. I'm teasing brown. And in my mind, when she would say teasing brown, she would always point to the women that were in vogue or popular at the time. Diane Carroll, Lena Horne, light-skinned African-American, now we call them African-American, light-skinned black women. So in my mind, I put that beauty meant light skin. If you were a light skinned sister, you were gorgeous to me. And just to show you the power of beauty, I grew up with that thought in my head. It's not that I disrespected or didn't date sisters of other black women of other hues and saturations. It was just that if you were light skinned, that was the pièce de résistance. So I married my second wife, who happened to be light skinned with green eyes. And I remember looking up to God when I got married and said, thank you, God, you can move on, because I felt like I had everything I wanted. Beauty. Unfortunately, I didn't ask God that whether or not she was an alcoholic or a drug addict or anything like that. So, beauty. That's the power of beauty. Beauty can intoxicate a man, intoxicate a person. So as a gemologist, I can't just get into beauty in just one classification, because beauty can mean so many different things in terms of gemstone. What's beautiful in a diamond, it's not the same as far as the beauty of a pearl. There's a different element. There's a different way the color flows. There's a different way it interacts with the light. So you begin to understand that beauty comes in a variety of different manifestations. That's beauty. Then we also talked about, last week, we talked about durability. Because when you find that gemstone, you want to keep it. You want it to last as long as you can, to wear it, to let it adorn you, to let it represent the power of who you are. Durability is the same thing in terms of a relationship. When you find the girl of your dreams, when you find that woman that inflames your soul, the woman that is the fever from which I shall never recover. As I told you before, that is a line from an obsession commercial. Think about the name of it. An obsession commercial that I heard when I was 10 years old. I'm 60 today, and I still remember it just like it was said yesterday. She was like a fever from which I shall never recover. So if I find that woman, if I find that gemstone, that is the gemstone that I want to have forever. I want to possess that gemstone forever. So that's durability. A diamond, as I said, a diamond is not forever, but diamonds have existed for millions, in a couple of billions. This diamond is at least 1 billion years old. So when I give that diamond to the woman that I love, what I'm saying is that our relationship will stand the test of time. Durability. And one of the things that I didn't say last week when we were talking about durability is that and it goes back to gem identification, when you find the person that you want to be with, rarity, she is beautiful, your conception of beautiful. It could be her hair, it could be her eyes, it could be just the way she walks, it could be the way she drinks water and you appreciate the flow of her Adam's apple. Beauty. And you want that relationship to last. You have to understand that that person that you want, that you think you want, may not be the person that you want to be with. For instance, an opal. An opal is a breathtaking gemstone. An opal is a stone that gives you all types of wonderful colors. This is opal. This is opal. And what opal is a water stone, and it has microscopic silicon beads. So when light hits opal, it refracts through the beads under a very thin layer of water, and the light will refract into its various colors, which is called the play of colors. Unfortunately, opal is a soft stone. So as a man, even though opal is my birthstone, I would never have an opal ring. Or if I had an opal ring, it would have to be protected because opal is a soft stone. So If you are, as a person, if you are a diamond and you're with a woman who is an opal, who is beautiful, who is elegant, who just makes your heart flutter every time you see her. But if she's an opal and you're a diamond, it may not work. You're the hardness of a diamond. You would never put a diamond and an opal in the same bag. Or if you created a piece of jewelry around it, you would have to protect it. So sometimes in regards to gemstones and relationships, sometimes what you think you want isn't what you really want. And the only way you understand what you want is, first, you have to understand what you want. You have to understand who that person is, the story of that woman, and then see if you are compatible. Because if you just go in thinking, oh, she's fine, that opal is beautiful, it may not work. So we have rarity, we have beauty, and we have durability. Those three attributes for gemstones lead into the next attribute, which is desirability. For you to understand desirability, let me give you two things. First was a quote that said, ignore, let me see how I remember if I said, ignore what a man desires and you ignore the very source of his power. Ignore what a man desires and you ignore the very source of his power. That was written by a gentleman named Walter Lippmann, who was he was a journalist and commentator. He's the same guy that coined the phrase Cold War against the United States and Soviet Union. Desire is what makes everything move in the world, especially in gemology. But before I go into that, the second thing that got me to really begin to thinking about the power of desirability in gemstones and women really go way back. It goes back to when I was a child. Remember the Road Runner and the Coyote? And maybe someone's heard this before, but let me flesh this idea out for a second, just to get you to understand how we have been indoctrinated to understand desire. If you remember, the coyote, his name was Wile E. Coyote. He was a super genius towards the end of the episodes. He wanted the Road Runner. And because we were children, we thought that he wanted the Road Runner to eat. I don't know how old I was until I began to think, wait a minute, I don't understand something. Because if you remember the show, Wile E. Coyote could order anything from this company called Acme. Acme was like the 1970 version of Amazon. You could order anything for Acme, and that's what the Coyote did. He ordered trucks, he ordered nuclear weapons, he ordered Road Runner food. He even ordered like a sexy Road Runner, all to get the Road Runner. All to get the Road Runner. And as a child, I'm thinking, okay, he wants to get the Road Runner to eat the Road Runner. But then as I got older, I asked, what do coyotes really eat Road Runners? And what I realized about coyotes is coyotes are what they call, from a scientific point of view, a coyote is the ultimate opportunist animal, meaning that a coyote will eat anything that it can catch. Anything that it can catch. That's one. Two, a Road Runner would never outrun a coyote. Road Runners run about 20 miles per hour, top speed. Coyotes run about 43 miles per hour. So it wasn't until months later on that I started to think, as I started to get into relationships and get married, I said to myself, and let me back up, when you would watch the coyote chase the Road Runner, the coyote would go through anything to get this coyote. I mean, the coyote would have mountains fall on top of him. He would fall down precipice that you thought the next step was hell. I mean, he's falling. You understood how far this animal fell, and he just kept on going. He just kept on going. So when you talk about desirability, understand that that's the power. The source to ignore the very source of his power. So desirability, the thing that fascinates me the most about gemology is what people did to get it. What people did to get a gemstone. This is what diamonds look like in the rough form. And it doesn't look like this right up. You have to still, this is a sapphire. This is a sapphire. These are what sapphires look like in its rough form. This is what jade. This is what jade looks like. And you have to understand that jade is one of the oldest gemstones. This is the gemstone that Asian people, Chinese culture, called the stone of heaven. If you were walking through the forest, pretty much a forest, you would find this stone. And how many of us would look at this stone and say, that's what I want? So my point is, for thousands of years, men would get on ships, cross oceans, climb mountains, go across deserts, risk indigenous cultures, tribes, animals, plant life. They knew of hundreds, not a few, hundreds of people who have gone before them, who have died, and yet the desire to possess, something so spectacularly beautiful that's what you wanted. That's what you need. And you were willing to go through that no matter what. That's what desirability is. So my point is, if I am willing to go through the gates of hell to get something, to obtain something like this. Remember, I told you last week, this is the Graph Venus diamond. This is found in Soweto, Africa, which is the highest diamond mine in the world. Sits at an elevation about 11 to 12,000 feet. Even though it's right in the middle, right, it's a country that's surrounded by South Africa. Even though it's that high elevation and it's in the middle of Africa, the temperature is sometimes 10 to 20 below zero in the mine. And that didn't stop them at all. And in 2015, diamonds have been mined since 1886. But in 2015, they found this diamond, desirability. So the question is, for me, and which is really the whole reason why I do the show and the way I look at gemology, is if the need and the desire to capture, to obtain something this beautiful, if I need that so badly, and when I get it, I care for it, why don't I care for something that's equally beautiful? Why do so many women all around the world are protesting and being all the things, all the horrible things that you see on the news, and never, why? If you're willing to climb a mountain and swim across an ocean just to obtain something that looks like this, and once you find it, you still have to cut it. It took 2 years just to decide what to cut with this diamond. These diamonds, this necklace is the thing that started the French Revolution. This is Marie Antoinette's necklace that she never actually owned. So the passion, the desire to get that, to obtain that. Why aren't relationships? Why don't men treat relationships in that same way? I'm 60 years old. I have known hundreds of women, and ladies, you know, the number one thing that I hear women complain about is about what happened to romance. So a man will desire, they will desire a woman. They will say to themselves, this is the woman that I want. This is the woman that I want to make my woman. She is rare. She is beautiful. I want this relationship with her to last forever. So if I was to win the heart of this woman, then I should treat this woman in the same level of care, of attention to detail that I do this done. And the thing that gets me the most is that the difference between a gemstone and women is the fact that a gemstone won't tell you how to care for it. Like a pearl, you can't leave a pearl. You can't leave a pearl like in a hot place. You have to have, especially if it's a quality, any pearl, but a quality pearl, you want to keep it in cloth or some type of silk sack in order, because it comes from a living organism. There's a softness to it. There's a tenderness, even the light, the way it reflects. That's why women love pearls, because they can feel the warmth of it on their skin. So if you are a man and you're feeling that woman against your skin, shouldn't deserve the same treatment, the same love, the same care, the same attention that I would a Tahitian pearl. And the difference between it is, if you're not a gemologist, you don't know how to care for it. And if someone doesn't tell you how to care for it, you may not know how to care for a pearl, but a woman will tell you exactly what she wants. And yet I'm absolutely flabbergasted. That's really the only word that comes close. Flabbergasted that there are millions of women who say, oh, I love flowers and I can't remember the last time I received flowers. There's so many women who I remember meeting a woman once, and just a nice woman. She was a colleague. I gave her flowers and she cried because she says, my own husband didn't give me this. And I'm sitting there looking at her like, oh my God. Oh my God. And I don't want to seem like I'm not an expert on women. Lord knows I'm not. As I told you, I've been married 2.5 times. Okay. So this has been a process. This has been an evolution for me to get here, because I've made a lot of mistakes. What I would like to do is to get people to begin to think differently about women. That the same concepts that you apply to a gemstone, you should apply to women, because it's just the analogies are just so incredible to me. Why should Valentine's Day, and I said before, I did a show on Valentine's Day or around Valentine's Day, and then I said that Valentine's Day was a sucker holiday because it was a corporate holiday. It feels even more so than Christmas. I mean, Valentine's Day is like, really? One day out of the year, you're going to take the time to go to a store to buy roses that cost 30, 40, 50 times more than it did a week before, a month before, on that one day, and that's going to represent the love that you have for this woman. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. But yet these are the same men whose desire to obtain a gemstone that looks like this. These are rubies. This is what a ruby looks like before it becomes a ruby. So you have a gemstone in your home that you looked at that gemstone once upon a time and you thought that woman was the most beautiful woman in the world. And my point is, love her, because look what you had to do to get it. Ladies, what I will say to you is, if a man told you that you was a gemstone in the beginning, if a man looked you in your eyes and he told you how beautiful that you were to him, the way you made him feel, if he said that in the beginning, then that's the way he should take care of you and love you. And of course it changes, it ebbs and flows, but the basic concept is that he should see you forever in the same way he sees the gemstone that you are, the same way he would see a gemstone. And what I will say is, I'm not saying that just leave, ladies. And if you're not getting that, just understand that you are a gemstone. That's what this show is about. Not just my show, the Diamond Factor. Barbara calls people queen diamonds, the ladies, queen diamonds, because she wants to speak to the power of the beauty. And what I will say to you is, she says diamond factor, but as a gemologist, I say diamond factor, pearl factor, sapphire factor, emerald factor. If you're with an emerald, if you're with a woman that's an emerald, you have to understand that all that white stuff in there, those are called inclusions. And most emeralds have that. This is what an emerald looks like. That's not cut, that's coming still a rough, but this is what emeralds normally look like. Emeralds have to be treated. Emeralds have to be injected with oil, to be treated, to be heated. All gemstones have to have something. So the woman that you have in your life, the life journey that she's gone through, that was her treatments. That was the faceting. That was the polishing. That were all the things that she had to go through in her life to become the gemstone that you have in front of you. So, guys, even though I was talking to the women, the gentlemen that are watching this show, take a moment to look at the woman that you love. Take a moment to look at and think about the reason why she intoxicated you in the beginning, and understand that that gemstone that you saw in the beginning, she's still that ruby. She's still that sapphire. She's still those emeralds. She's still that jade. This is nephrite jade, which is the darker variety, and this is jadeite jade. Look at it. This is what it looks like. So the woman in your life this is who she was in the beginning. And then she evolved to become just the jade that you love and that you appreciate, that means so much to you. Desirability. That's how gemstones work. That's one of the attributes of what a gemstone is. So, thank you for listening today. Take a moment to discover the person in your life. And as always, take time to discover the value of your own story. Au revoir.
Yes, 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 yes. Woo! You know what? I want to tell everybody. I mean, some people ask me, they said, Barbara, have you really, really started looking at drums? Yes, I have. I have been looking at drums. In fact, I've been looking for an instructor because with the COVID and everything, I was like, okay, do I really want to like go in person right now? I don't want to take that chance. We're still, my second shot is this Friday. Just let everybody know I'm taking my second shot for the vaccine. So I'll feel comfortable after that. But even with that, I'm still like, ugh. So I was like, oh, can I do it like online? And I did find some that they said they can teach you online. So I'm really going for it. This is really coming. I mean, before I was just like, I like the drums. I've been talking about it, and now I'm getting to the point of yes, I'm moving forward. I'm taking action now. I'm just not talking about it. So I wanted to put that out there because something that Barry was saying about desire and really wanting something and going for it, and then appreciating it and respecting it. We have to. I look at that when I talk about people's purpose, passion, and drive in their life. If you really, have something in you that your gift and your genius is that you have, every day you should be pushing somewhere down the line towards that. And if you're not, then you need to rethink what really your purpose is or what you're really passionate about. Because like Barry said, you're gonna go towards that. I mean, look, everybody knows a road runner cartoon. Hopefully everybody, or I'm aging myself, we all aged ourselves. But when you think about it, every day, basically, the coyote would get up every single day to go after that one purpose that he had, or she, I don't know, he or she, to go to the road runner. So are you moving towards what you're trying to do in your life of your gifts that you have and put it out there and building it up? Every day I'm looking at things. I'm looking at different ways how to do things when it comes to TV streaming, when it comes to social media, when it comes to one-on-one interviews. I look at other people interview other people just to make sure that I'm grasping and asking the questions and doing what I need to do to make other people shine. It's a continue learning experience that I always have to do. And I want to put that out there to you. Are you doing that too? Are you keeping relevant on what you're doing for yourself to grow? Because you should be, if that's your desire, if that's what you like. So, I can sit here and talk, but I got to bring on the queen. And that's Queen Laura Armstrong. Because, me, I get on my soapbox. Next thing you know, it's 9 o'clock. You be like, wait a minute, what happened to Laura? So I'll get more into that. But remember what I started at the beginning. Don't underestimate the impact that you bring. And then you know what? You have an obligation when you bring that impact, every day to make sure that you're nurturing that. So with that said, let's bring on the queen. Let's get some personality stuff going on here. I always love listening to Laura. She's just awesome. Here she comes.
How's everybody doing today? It's so great to be here. It's another wonderful day, and I'm so excited to be on today. I've got a great show for you guys. We're going to talk today about spiritual intelligence. So let me back up a little bit. So I'm Laura Armstrong. You're a leadership and communication expert, 3-time world champion martial artist, and I help you to step into your power, get clear on your success, and take your leadership to the next level, as well as your communication skills. That's just like my very, very brief bio. So the last 6 weeks we've been together, I've been talking about our our coaching program that we have available and the different modules of that. So I use a communication methodology called BANK, which I love. It allows me to speak to the values that are important to people. So not only is my message being heard, but I'm also feeling like the people I interact with, that they're feeling heard as well, because a lot of the time our messages get lost. And the next level to communicating like that is actually talking about the intelligence that we have around who we are as human beings and what that means. So in this iOS coaching program, we have 6 intelligences. And today we're actually on the last one, which is amazing. So the first one is personality intelligence, which is based on the BANK that I told you about, the 4 personality types, the blueprint, the action, the nurturing, the knowledge. The next module that I talked about was sales intelligence. Where are you in your sales? Do you use a sales tracker? Do you do follow-up, right? So each of these modules, you want to evaluate where you are. I was very weak in my sales when I started this, right? Since then, my sales have skyrocketed. Okay, because I've implemented what I need to around that intelligence training to get it where it needs to go. It still needs work. Everything does, but it's better than it was. The third one that we did is emotional intelligence, lately a buzzword in not only everyday life and business, but in the corporate world as well. So, emotional intelligence is really using empathy in all of your communication. If you're really going to narrow it down to one sentence, and really having a lot more understanding and compassion for others, okay, and where they are, and being a lot of space around that. The fourth module that we did was artificial intelligence, which is also becoming a new buzzword. I'm seeing it everywhere. We have an AI that we use where I plug in everything I do written to find out what the code is around not only what I'm writing, but what I'm receiving from people, so I can respond to them in a way that they're actually going to get my message and feel like they're being heard. So just like speaking, writing is just as important, if not. How many times have you gotten an email or something written from someone and, you just take it the wrong way because you're like, what? But yet, if you have a conversation, they're like, what do you mean? That's not what I said. So they're interpreting it one way, you're interpreting it another, when you all want to be working on the same page around this, okay? The next intelligence we did was business intelligence. There was a lot around this because you have your trifecta of personality, sales, and emotional intelligence, okay? And you bring the AI or artificial intelligence into that, and now you have business intelligence. So how do you run your business, and what are the different components of that? What are the KPIs in your business? Do you track them? Okay, so your goals and where they're going. What is the deliverable on that? What is your timeline? So all sorts of things we talked about like that for last week. And finally, the last module, which we're going to talk about today, is spiritual intelligence. Now, I'm not talking the kind of woo-woo spiritual intelligence that, most people associate when someone says the word spiritual. I refer to spiritual intelligence as a way to impact all levels of wealth and live your purpose. Really, that's what it's about. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. Okay. So by the end of our talk, you're going to understand the 4 levels of wealth and create more purpose in your business and your personal life. Or I'm going to show you the path to do that. You want to be more aligned with your business mission and leverage your spiritual intelligence to help more people and yet still make money, right? Because money is also part of the equation. So you want to have a map or a massive action plan to make this happen, okay? So let me see here. What do I want to cover first? Okay, so let me talk a little bit about spiritual intelligence because that's where we want to start. So spiritual intelligence is our capacity for developing meaning, vision, and value. Spiritual intelligence is our capacity for developing meaning, vision, and value. Okay, those are 3 things that are key to how we exist as humans on this planet. Okay, it underlies the things that we believe and the role our beliefs and values play in the actions that we take. Right. So to increase your spiritual intelligence, you want to define your why. And I know, like we hear all the time, people are like, "What's your why? What's your why?" Right? But you really want to define what that is, because not only is that something you use in your business, your passion, your purpose, whatever it is. I know Barbara talks about that a lot. It's also your divine purpose, right? And you also want to master with that the 4 levels of wealth: money, relationships, knowledge, and spirituality. And you have to do that by applying these principles in your life. And the ultimate goal of this is spiritual self-actualization. So you're actually making, that why happen and having it show up on this earth. Okay. So when you have high spiritual intelligence, it means you have defined your life purpose and you make decisions based on your divine calling, recognizing your impact on future generations to come. I am in alignment with that. So my purpose is to create more for people on this earth, okay? An ideal that will contribute to them, whether or not I am here. And this will ripple out into the world, okay? So for me, I've got pretty much all that covered. My mission is to connect and empower people so that they can step into their leadership and success so that they can help others do the same. Okay. So for me, all of this aligns with what my why is. I spent a lot of time figuring out my why. And not only that, it changed as I grew. It changed as I got older. It changed as my business changed and evolved. So changing and evolving is not a bad thing. So it's always a good thing to take a look at it every once in a while. Okay. So the benefits of high spiritual intelligence, there are a few here that I think are really good. So first of all, you have compassion for humanity and creating harmony in relationships. Okay. It's never about you. And I've said this several times. So if you can really get out of your head about things, this is going to create so much for not only you, but for the people that you're around. You probably don't even realize what you're doing, how it ripples out into the world. And you're not meant to, right? You just have to kind of put a little faith in that. It's just going to happen, right? Sometimes I hear stories years later about things that I've done, that have affected people's lives. I had no clue, right? So you just keep on your mission and be you have a mission-driven business that makes a difference and a dollar and changes the world. Okay, those are the three components. Makes a difference, makes a dollar, and it changes the world. Like, how does it get better than that? Like, that's it, guys, right? So it also gives you, so high spiritual intelligence gives you the peace that you are in alignment with your divine gifts and the plan. Now, for me, I really work on that because I'm like, am I doing the right thing? Am I on the path? Am I, so I just kind of have to let go of trying to control that and make sure that I stay focused on my goals and not obsess about that and just know that my path is where it needs to be and where it should be. Okay. So where will, spiritual intelligence help you the most, right? So let's talk about the 4 levels of wealth with that. Okay. You want to navigate through the 4 levels of wealth before you can actually attain self-actualization. And I think it's interesting when I talk about this, you're going to see the 4 levels. And the first level is money, level 1. Okay. So making money is the first level of wealth, but it's the lowest level. And so many people stay stuck in the grind of chasing the money. Okay. Without ever moving or leveling up. Right. Sometimes I think we can get caught as like really earthbound human beings within that. The second level is relationships. Relationship currency that you build in this lifetime can be priceless and far more valuable than money alone. Bank enables you to build relationship wealth that you can leave behind as a legacy, right? I have a leadership legacy in my martial arts school. I have world championship titles. My students have world championship titles. And their students have world championships titles, right? So something went right in there about the whole process around creating a leadership legacy. What is your legacy going to be? Okay, that's what you need to be asking. I have a different legacy for business, but using that formula, that step-by-step, the way I connect and build relationships to create a legacy in any part of my life is something you can very easily do, okay? The third level is knowledge. The wealth of knowledge comes from accumulating and mastering a knowledge base and then feeling compelled from a spiritual calling within to share your wisdom with others, with other human beings, right? So that's why I teach, right? Because I want to pass everything I have on because I know it's going to contribute to others and it's going to contribute to me. And it's also going to give me the outcomes I'm looking for. And it aligns with my mission. Okay. The level 4 is spiritual. Spiritual wealth is living in complete alignment with your life purpose and your divine destiny. So now I've kind of given you like the 4 levels of wealth, But what I noticed is I had jumped into level 2 and 3 and 4 without really embracing number 1. So I never really embraced the money, the lowest level, right? So I was really spiritual and I had great relationships and, everything was good on that. But, and I'd taken my courses, I mastered my knowledge, but my money level was lacking. And so I could never really attain that spiritual alignment. It was close and I could feel it, but I was missing the money piece. So I had to go back. I had to start again. And I started aligning that money piece and revamping my business so that was a big piece of what I did so that I could move up relationships, knowledge and spirituality up all 4 levels. And it's just a constant thing you're working on. I talk to my students, when I first got my first black belt, it took me 9 years. And I remember getting my black belt and I'm thinking, there was so much training leading up to that, like 9 years of training. It's a big commitment of your life. And I got my black belt, I passed the test and I'm thinking, okay, well, what's next? And then I realized when I started practicing with that black belt on, even though it's just a piece of cloth, I'm like, God, I know nothing, right? So I think within our intelligences, there are levels of black belts or there are levels of learning. When you think you've got something, then a whole new set of things come along that you need to integrate in with what you do. So, are we ever going to reach the ultimate black belt? Well, that's what we strive for as human beings. Okay. And I think it was Simon Sinek who said, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And what you do simply proves what you believe. I fully believe in what I do. So what do you do? And do you believe in it? Okay. So what I want to talk a little bit about now, which is in alignment with that spiritual intelligence, is I want you to think about writing your mission statement if you haven't. Okay. A mission statement answers the following questions. What do you do or strive to do that makes you special? What is your spark? Why do people come to you? Okay. The second question is, who do you serve and how? These are great questions and they require a lot of thought, right? And the third and most important to me is, what impact will you make? Okay. What is your transformation that you offer people? Okay. It's really something you have to be thinking about because it's never about you. What transformation are you offering people and what are they going to get out of it? Why should they go to you? What's special about you? Okay. I really feel like a lot of the time we don't spend enough time on that kind of thing, because what that can do is not only get you help really clear on, what it is that you do, but also your path, right? So once you have that as a baseline, things get easier because you know where you're going and you know what you want to be involved in. Okay. So I really feel like a lot of spiritual intelligence comes from the practicalness of us doing the work on earth and achieving those 4 levels, of money, relationships, knowledge, and spirituality, because really, you can't have them in a mixed order. You've got to have them in that order. It's just the way the universe works. So I want to close off today and tell you I've really enjoyed we have one more class next week, one more session, you'll see me. And what we're going to cover there is just a brief review of each of the intelligences. I'm going to go over each of them. And I'm going to, if you guys have any questions, please have them ready for next week. I'm happy to answer them. And I just want to say, really take the time to think about your purpose on this earth and what that means to you as a human being. It's a deep question and it requires a lot of reflection, and be willing to have it show up however it shows up for you, right? So I'm signing off. It's Laura Armstrong with Leadership with Laura. You can contact me at Laura@Leadership with Laura. Please do. I love hearing from people. I love people. I want to hear about you and what you do. And let's talk about leadership and communication and see where things go. All right, everybody, I will see you next week for our last week on spiritual a review of the 6 intelligences. And don't forget that following week, and I'll mention this next week, I'm moving to Thursday mornings at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. So we'll be changing days. All right, everyone, I'll see you soon. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you. Bye for now.
Thank you, Laura, so much. As always, you give us so much genuine tips and information about really understanding our whole being when it comes to personality, through mind, body, and soul. I also love how you talked about purpose because that is my subject. So, yes, yes, yes. That's why we get along. That's why we're sisters from another mother. So, love you, Queen. So now I want to, before I sign off, I want to give, and I don't want to get like too deep here, and I'll start crying. But I want to give just a tribute to a very wonderful woman that passed away last week. It was a very surprising loss. This individual, her name is Pat, and she basically was a gem. I met her through another wonderful angel, Queen Diamond, named Barbara Ellis, and we lost her last Sunday due to a car accident. And basically, her and her mother, they were basically driving, and a person was driving on the same side. They were on the wrong side of the street, hit them, impact, and they both were killed at that time. So it's been a week. It's been a whole week now, week and a half now, and it's been kind of rough because this woman, she was just so awesome. Pat was just good friend, good business coach, left a legacy, was so knowledgeable, helped a lot of individuals in their business. And, I just don't want that to die out. We always talking about leaving a legacy. She had, grown sons, and then her mother, their grandmother is gone. And it's just, you look at that. So I always tell people when you lose somebody in life, a friend or family member, or whatever, you really have to make sure that you're really looking out for the people that are still here. Because first of all, I know you were sad, and we have to take that moment because we're sad about the person that left. But then you have all these individuals, these family members and friends that are here still, that I know that the person that passed away would want us to move forward, would want us to use. She didn't do all this work of coaching, other people in their businesses just to be saying, okay, and when she's gone, that's it. That's gone. It shouldn't be when a person leaves, it dies with them. It basically, they were on this earth for a certain point in time to give, to be an impact, to leave things so we can take what the tools that they gave us and move forward. So I did a tribute video that I want to play to just, honor her. And just to let you know that, please, that's why I always tell people, reach out to the individual, say hello. It doesn't have to be a long conversation. You never know. You never know when you might not be able to talk to that person ever again. You never know when they're gonna move to the next, level in life. So with that said, I want to play the video, and then after that, I'm going to sign off. We will be back on Friday, and I have some special authors coming on Friday to really. There's another collaboration book of authors that I'm going to be interviewing. There's probably going to be like 7. I'm going to have a lot. So it's going to be interesting. These are younger people that are in the book, and I'm so proud of them because they took the initiative to move forward and write their chapters, and become these authors. So let's celebrate. Let's please come to the show on Friday and celebrate them. Listen to what they have to say. Listen to why they wrote the chapter, because it's so important, like I said, to support, especially our youth, to support our youth. So I'm going to play the video for Pat. Love you, Pat. Barbara, if you're still there, if you're out there looking to, I know that was, you and her was sisters from another mother, and we just appreciate her, and we honor everybody. And remember, like Barry said, go for your desires. Because, if you're not, like I said, you need to rethink it if it's not a desire that's really pushing you forward. Talk to you on Friday.
Today it's a Pat and Barb show.